कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि।
Namaskaram to everyone. The Guru Purnima, this blessed day, it's a fortune that all of us are here at the foothills of Velangiri, in the presence of Adi Yogi. The significance of the day is this, that it is on this day, over 15,000 years ago, that for the first time, for the very first time in the history of humanity, that human beings were reminded that if we are willing, if you are willing, you can transcend all the so-called limitations that nature has set upon you. Today, it's common to use the word human referring to the limitations that are upon individual human beings. Very rarely anybody says, "I'm human," for all the possibilities that we are. Well, at least Charles Darwin told you, even if you don't believe it, that you are the peak of evolution on this planet. If you are the very peak of evolution, if you are on top of the pile of all the creatures on this planet, millions of varieties of life, in all that, you are supposed to be the most evolved in faculty, in intelligence, and in ability to experience, express and live. But how often did you hear someone referring to the word human in terms of the immensity of being human? "Oh, I am only human." This is what you heard most of the time. Whenever you goof up, "Oh, I am only human." It is time, because this was the intent of Adi Yogi, that human beings realize the immensity of what it means to be human. Now that he's here once again, powerfully, it is our intent that in the coming years, we have to establish this, that in the coming years, we have to establish this, that people will use the word human, referring to the great possibilities that the human being carries, not the limitations and goof-ups that human beings can be. If this has to happen, we have to shift humanity from belief to responsibility. literally from religion to responsibility. When I say religion to responsibility, for too long, people have been looking up and walking. You know very well, there is no more argument about it. Though the planes look flat here, you know very well the planet is round and it's spinning and you have no clue which is up and which is down. What do you say for those people who are down under and they're looking up? I understand, up is not geographical, up is by intent. If really up is an intent within you, it's very important that you must shift to a more responsible existence. That means, whatever nonsense you are right now, whatever great possibility you are right now, whatever wonderful things you are right now, whatever terrible things you are right now, you must see that you are essentially responsible for this. This is what Adiyogi brought to humanity 15,000 years ago, and not only the intent, but also the technology as to how to fulfill this intent, how to take charge of this human system, which modern science clearly tells you is the most sensitive and most capable physiological system on the planet. An elephant may be big, a tiger may be ferocious, but a human being has the ability to do things. It's not just about doing things in the world. A human being has an ability to experience life like no other creature can experience. A human being, if willing, can sit here and download the entire cosmos within himself or herself. It is towards this ability that the entire technology of yoga, the science of yoga is focused towards this, to enhance a human being in such a way that from being a comical human being becomes a cosmic human being. I say comical because when everything is telling us, modern science is telling us, Adiyogi told us long time ago, that we are the most evolved beings on this planet. But if we were the most evolved beings, we must be living the most profound and perfect life. But instead, most human beings today forget about downloading cosmos, forget about living in an ecstatic manner. Most people are thinking the ultimate goal in their life is to achieve a little bit of peace of mind. If that's your goal, you will only rest in peace. So essentially, the significance of Adiyogi and the significance of Guru Purnima is just this. The first full moon after the summer solstice, when the relationship between the sun and the planet goes through a metamorphosis, because the direction and the transaction that happens between the sun, which is the very source of energy for this planet, if you've forgotten, you're all solar powered. Hello? You thought you're diesel fired? You're all solar powered. Every life on this planet, from a plant to an insect to a bird to an animal, even a microbial creature, is essentially solar powered. Everything that happens here, the chemical cauldron of what we call as this planet is fired by the solar energy. Life is possible only because of solar energy here. So the relationship between the sun and the planet, in what mode it is right now, being conscious of that and being able to make use of that is very important. So we identified two fundamental changes which are further bifurcated into four. When there is a northern run in relation to this planet of the sun, we call this Uttarayana, which just got over on 21st of June, and now we are on the southern run. This is called Dakshinayana. I know the Tamil people, they're very proud of being south, but we are north of the equator, okay? We're in the northern hemisphere. This is a perfect place because we are at 11 degrees latitude right here. Adiyogi is sitting at almost bang on 11 degrees. Why this is important is because planet's rotation is at a tilt, and approximately at 11 degrees, the centrifugal pitch is nearly vertical. As you sit here in this space, unknowingly, the very movement of the earth is pushing you upward. It is creating an upsurge of energy within you. Took me over 18 years or nearly 19 years of search, more than that. Yeah, nearly 19 years of search to find this place, because at that time I did not know it's 11 degrees, otherwise I would have just found it very easy. I was looking for a certain type of energy. Nobody told me it's 11 degrees, and I was too stubborn to go to any kind of school or a place I could learn, nor could I identify such a place. So I was looking for a certain type of energy. And it's much later that we came to this, that this happens at 11 degrees latitude, north. So here we are on this Guru Purnami. This is the day. The reluctant yogi, there's only one yogi, Adiyogi. We are all this small spill out of him, small drops that fell off him. When he propounded or he expounded whatever he did, to put it very simply in today's language, all he did was, he started reading the user's manual for this most complex machine called human mechanism. User's manual means we must understand that if you get yourself a new gadget, let's say you got yourself one of those very sleek, new super thin laptop. You don't have user's manual. It looked nice and sharp, so you took it home and used it to cut vegetables. It works quite well. Apple Air can make a good vegetable chopper. Only thing is, it's a tragedy that a machine which could do something fantastic for you is being used in a rudimentary way. Cutting vegetables is not a bad thing, it's very important. But we could use an appropriate instrument for that. We don't need something as sophisticated as a computer to cut vegetables. Similarly, to eat, sleep, reproduce and die one day, you don't need such a complex machine. Every other creature does it better than us. So Adiyogi started reading the user's manual for these 7 sages. And because the machine is so intricate, the user's manual seems to be somewhat complex. So he created 112 ways to read it. 112 ways in which you could read. If you just want one level of life, you read it one way. If you want another level of life, you read it another way. If you want the ultimate level of life, you read it in a completely different way. As you see every day, though our education systems, our social norms is trying to put everybody through the same extruder, do what you want, individual human beings live at different levels of sensitivity and experience, you can't stop that. But if you approach it scientifically and make it a conscious effort that every individual human being can be cultivated as an individual possibility rather than putting them through common process. We're attempting this right now. We have this dream of coming up with an educational board where each child will be educated as he needs it, according to his genius. No, don't clap your hands, we will need all of you to come and teach. Because if you do not cultivate great human beings, how do you have a great nation? How do you have a great world? If you treat individual human beings from an early age like a herd of cattle, and you expect a phenomenal world to live in, it doesn't happen. If you want to live in a great world, we have to tend to our children individually, like their individual life which they are. And each one of them a unique possibility, each one of them a unique genius of their own. Do we have the commitment and love in our heart to cultivate this? Or because they have come somehow, just put them through something and be done with it? Is that our idea of raising children? Is something we have to come to. But Sadhguru, what's yoga got to do with this? This is what yoga is. Though it starts as a common practice at the beginning, it has a phenomenal capability. If it is taught as a live process, if yoga is taught as a live process as Adiyogi intended, he spoke the same things to all the 7 people, but it evolved very intricately different in each person. You are seeing this happening within engineering. If 10,000 people are here, each one of them will go through it like it's taught to them separately. This is the nature of yoga, that if it is given in live form, not as a teaching, not as a dogma, not as some kind of belief system or a cultural identity, but if it is taught as a live process, if it is offered as a live process, if thousands of people are here, each one of them will experience it a unique way, and that's how it should happen. That is when it is true yoga. Otherwise, we are imitating yoga, we're doing something like it. That was not his intent. His intent was that every human being will have the necessary manure. Am I using the wrong word? Each human being will have the necessary nourishment, and let me be kind to you on this day, will have the necessary nourishment so that the unique dimension of one's individual nature blossoms to not conflict and confront other entities around us, but blossoms to contribute, blossoms to bring fragrance, blossoms to bring beauty to the world. Isn't it wonderful that there are so many types of plants, there are so many types of flowers, there are so many types of fruits, insects, birds, animals. Suppose we had only tigers. Well, so many of you wouldn't be here. Similarly, I want you to just look at this. Most of the time, people's conflict with others is just this, that they're not like you. Just imagine your home. Imagine your home, just one more person exactly like you. Could you live in that place? Be sincere about this. One more person just like you, could you live in that place? No, one is too much. One more, impossible to live there. So Guru Purnima is significant because it brings this back into our life. It's a reminder for us that this is the birth of the first Guru. This is not… people are asking me, Sadhguru, is Guru Purnima, is your birthday. Oh my God. This is not about the Guru. This is about transformation. This is about reminding ourselves that if we are willing, we can transcend all limitations. Today, all of you, to some extent, in your high school at least, you've gone through some understanding of evolution, how you were all monkeys and… not me, it was Charles Darwin who said this. And evolution happened and you became human and all this stuff. But 15,000 years ago, when people believed or they had no clue how they are here, they thought something else, from somewhere else, we must have been dropped here. He brought this possibility that if a monkey can evolve to become human, a human can evolve consciously to become something else. Well, when you were a monkey, I'm not accusing you, okay? I'm just telling you. When you were a monkey, you did not desire, I want to be human, nature just pushed you on. But once you become human, because you become conscious enough now there is room for conscious evolution. This is the dimension that Guru Purnima represents, that there is a possibility beyond natural forces, there is a possibility that individual human beings can evolve beyond all the limitations we think are natural. Different people are living in different states of limitations, different dimensions of limitations, and different levels of suffering and confusion. It doesn't matter where you are. For every type of human being, there is a method, there is a possibility that yoga offers. And this process of looking at these 112 ways in which an individual human being can transcend his or her limitations and come to a state of freedom, absolute freedom. This started on this day, many years ago, but today it is far more significant than ever before, because after all these millennia, it is now, in this generation, in 21st century, that we have come to a place that our survival process is better organized than ever before. Today you can go to your store if you have the money, you can buy everything you need for next 1 year and not step out of your home. This was never ever possible. So now that survival is taken care of, naturally human beings will long for more. So it is just perfect timing that he is back here once again with us to remind people across the world that if you are willing, you can transcend all your limitations. When we say your limitations, there are only two fundamental limitations of body and mind. Body is just made with soil and water from this land. Well, when I say soil and water, I cannot help touching upon this because this year particularly, this land across the country, particularly in Tamil Nadu, we have suffered immensely due to lack of water. Monsoons today, the clouds seem to be crossing the mountains. But just wind has been coming, monsoon season it must be pouring right now, but just wind is blowing and terrible things have happened. Tamil Nadu's grain production this year has dropped by 65%. Farmers across the country are committing suicide. Those who give life-nourishing food to us are taking their own life. We can't just sit and think nothing is happening. All this because there is a serious depletion of water bodies, particularly rivers, and serious depletion of topsoil. Most rivers, or all rivers, on an average, in the last 70 years since independence, have depleted by nearly 40 to 45%. Many rivers like Ganga and Narmada have depleted over 60%. Kaveri, for which these two southern states, we are struggling with each other as to who should get how much. I must tell you, from the age of 12 to 17, almost every day, I swam in this river. But today when I see Kaveri, tears come to me because it is 40% of what I saw at that time. And Kaveri is drying up almost 170 kilometers inland in Tamil Nadu, it's not touching the ocean. The entire length of Kaveri is only 870 kilometers. After that, of that, 430 kilometers run in Tamil Nadu and it is drying up 170 kilometers inland. I want you to understand, this is unfolding of a serious disaster. You see in the news yesterday that thousands of acres of coconut farms are being brought down in Tamil Nadu because they're all drying up. Always in southern India, people said, there are Tamil sayings which say, before you take care of your children, take care of your coconut tree. Because if you take care of your coconut tree, next 80 to 100 years it will take care of you and your next generation. This is the understanding. But today, farmers are bringing down their coconut trees in thousands. Hundreds and thousands of coconut trees and arecanut trees have been brought down in the last 2 years because there is no water. As a part of this, to raise awareness in the country that we need to act now, not tomorrow, we need to act now to do some kind of corrective action. The simple thing that we need to do is, we need to understand this. The water on this planet has not disappeared. The same amount of water which was here 1,000,000 years ago is still here. It's just that it's not coming to us. Why is it not coming to us? What is the reason why it's not coming to us? One fundamental reason is there is not enough vegetation, that we have plowed lands right from Kanyakumari, right up to Himalayan foothills, we have plowed it up. The pressure of population has taken a toll on the land. And this is a land which has probably the oldest history of agriculture on the planet. I hear people saying that in Tamil Nadu, farming has been happening for over 12,000 years, probably the longest anywhere in the world. We are still plowing the same land. And for all these millennia, it fed us. But now in 2 generations, we have brought it to a place where all the studies are showing nearly 25% of the land, agricultural land in India, is on the verge of becoming a desert. Becoming a desert means this: for any land to be considered as soil, there must be a minimum of 2% organic content. In many states, especially like Punjab and Haryana, the organic content has come down to 0.05%. Not 0.5, 0.05%. This means it's on the verge of becoming a desert. That means you cannot grow a thing in it. In the next 5 to 10 years, it may happen. Why is such a thing happening? See, in 1 acre of land, suppose you take out a crop, let's say you take out sugarcane, let us say 8 to 10 tons came out of it. What you have taken out is not sugarcane, what you have taken out is topsoil. So on an average, in this country, year on year, 5.3 billion tons of topsoil is taken away in the form of crop. This is nearly 1 millimeter. How much are we putting back? What we are putting back is negligible. We have only 15 to 17 inches of topsoil in the entire country, and we are taking away 1 millimeter per year. I want you to do some simple arithmetic and tell me, in how many years will we become a total desert? How do we put back organic content? From where does it come? Either you must have trees which will shed leaves, or you must have animal waste, lots of animals, and the waste will become organic content. Trees are already gone. Animals are all traveling out in the form of meat. When you export meat, you must understand you are not sending meat, you are giving away India's topsoil. There are many things in the country in the last 70 years that we are proud of. Our scientists have done many innovations. Our space scientists are going to the Mars, miraculous things they're doing. Our businesses have built in a huge way. Many achievements are there. But of all these, the greatest achievement we have in our country is that without any great infrastructure, without any scientific knowledge, without much financial support, just with traditional wisdom and blood and sweat, our farmers are producing food for over 1 billion people. This is the greatest achievement in the country. But today, we are pushing the farming community to a place where they have to take their own life. There are many reasons for this, but we should not forget, one fundamental reason is they are working with not so productive land, not enough water. So to put the rivers back, to get the rivers flowing, that rivers are perennial, not seasonal. To make this happen, one important thing that needs to happen is, along the river there must be vegetation. About 25%. Indian rivers, the major rivers, cover about 20,000 kilometers. About 25% of this 20,000 kilometers is owned by the government, the land. 75% is farm. Where government has lands, forests must come up. General plantations must happen at least a minimum of 1 kilometer on both sides. Where it is farmer's land, it is not fair to ask a poor farmer who is struggling for his livelihood to save the planet. So, we have a plan, an economic plan with a significant ecological consequence, where farmers' income can be raised 3 to 8 times in 5 to 6 years' time, if we do this in an organized way. Towards this, we are building a policy with the help of many experts from various fields, agricultural experts, ecological experts, hydrology, variety of people are contributing to this to build a recommendation policy, a policy recommendation which we want to offer to the government. But rivers are a concurrent subject in India between the central government and the state government. So to bring everybody together, above all to raise awareness in the people, we are doing a rally for rivers. Starting on 3rd of September, I am personally driving with a group of people from Kanyakumari to the foothills of Himalayas. For over 30 days, covering 16 states. And fortunately, and I have to congratulate them, that almost all the chief ministers of the 16 states have confirmed their participation in the rally. This shows that everybody is conscious of the seriousness of the problem and everybody wants to do what is needed to be done. And we will start here and end the rally on 2nd of October, which is Mahatma's Jayanti, on that day in New Delhi, and want to present this recommendation, policy recommendation to the central government. This is simple. I want all of you, every one of you, when I say everyone who consumes water must rally for rivers. What should I do? You just have to give a simple missed call, I think it's on the screen, the number, you must get, we want to get 100 million people or 10 crore people must give a missed call, because you must understand a policy like this involves very large financial outlays, and there are many other intricacies and complications in this. In many ways, it means a certain change of lifestyle for those who live on the riparian lands or the riverside lands. For this to happen, which is a long-term policy, a government needs people's support. People have to say an overwhelming yes, that we want this to happen, we are willing to go through the small inconveniences for the larger well-being. If we do not show our commitment to revive our rivers, it means we have no love for our children. This is what it means. Because what homes you have built, what wealth you have made, what bank balances you have, and what secret accounts you hold elsewhere, all this will not help. If the future generations in this country have to live well, the rivers must flow and the soil should remain rich. I want every one of you to make this missed call from today onwards, and should not just stop with one call. Every one of you should make sure you get at least another 100 people to make the call, because this is important. If you do not understand what I'm saying, just travel to different parts of the country and see what is happening. Every day you're reading the news. Why do you think a farmer is committing suicide? In the last decade, over 100,000 farmers have committed suicide. Even in a war, that many people don't get killed. Don't think this is just because of the money lender. One important thing is the very soil and water which he depends upon to make his own living and make food for all of us is not supporting him. We have to put back our soil and get our rivers flowing. On this Guru Purnima day, Sadhguru, we came here for a spiritual discourse, but you are telling us about the rivers. I want you to understand, if you think of spirituality, if you think of spirit, you will become hallucinatory, because you don't know what is the nature of what it is. What it is not is what you have to see. You have a body. If you know this is just soil and water, if you know how to keep this aside, you become spiritual. That's all it is. You don't have to go in search of spirit, you just have to keep the material substance that you've gathered a little aside in your awareness. So this effort to get the rivers flowing, this effort to be inclusive enough of generations which are yet to be born, all of you learning to care for life that is yet to be born is spiritual as it comes. So this Guru Purnima, I want all of you to take up this, not make one call and go to sleep, no. Anyway, I know you are in love with your phone these days. Every day, you must keep calling some number. 10 digits will go to somebody. That won't help, you have to make those 10 digits. You have to send this 10 digits to some number and ask them to call. And take up whatever plan there is. Some of them are free, some of them are discounted, do whatever, but make sure that as people of this country and as people of this world, as a human being, I want you to express that you are human enough to be inclusive. You are not like other creature that as long as I grab my food and eat, I'm fine. You're human. This is what being human means. That when we say somebody is being humane or somebody expresses humanity, we are only saying that they are being inclusive. It is in your inclusiveness that your humanity is rooted. Make use of this campaign to express your inclusiveness, to express your humanity. I want every one of you to understand, this is not a protest. This is not an agitation. This is a campaign to bring awareness to the country that our rivers are truly depleting, seriously. You cannot take them for granted. You cannot think rivers will be always flowing. Many of them are not flowing at all. It is ours to express our commitment that we want to get the rivers flowing. And the policy is a long, complicated process which the governments have to sort it out. But we want to tell the government that we are with you in making this change. Whatever little inconveniences we have to go through, we are willing to go through. And one thing, one more way that you can express your commitment is, we want to make sure that at least 30% of our food comes from the trees, not from plowed crop. We have to do this. This means, from today all of you should ensure that at least 30% of your diet are fruits. This means you may live 10, 15 years longer and you may not go to the doctor. You know, for a long time they've told you an apple a day. At least 30% of your diet, if it is fruit, you will see that minimum 40% expense that you have for your medical care will go down in your life, and you will live longer and you will live better, your brain will work better. I want to see that happening. Thank you very much.